Well, okay. Here we are. It's Wednesday at 10. So it's not Wednesday at 10 at all. It's Tuesday. And I decided to schedule an event, which, I'm learning new things about this live Google Hangout that's not truly live. I can schedule something. So I decided to do that because I don't really think I'm going to be home until after 10 tomorrow night. So I wanted to cover an important topic that is terminating an employee. So I have found that a lot of people, doctors in particular, don't understand how freaking important it is to know how to do this, or whoever it is that's doing it knows how to do it. So you really need to fix your hair, Sharon. That's what you need to do. But you really do need to understand the issues that can come of terminating somebody the incorrect way. And I've talked to many unemployment labor attorneys. I've talked to just everybody in the industry, everybody in medical, about how to handle an employee. First of all, you really need to be empathetic, right? I didn't learn until not a long time ago. I don't remember where I was. Oh, I know what it was. I was listening to Jack Welch. He was speaking at an event in Orlando. And I didn't really know too much about him, but I learned real quick that he was hardcore. And he talked about how Friday seems to be the day when companies let employees go. And what we don't realize, it's very easy, and I love how he said this, very easy for us to let go of an employee on a Friday because it's easy for us, right? It's easy because we're like ripping the Band-Aid off. We're like, oh, we want to go enjoy our weekend. We got to get this over with. Nobody likes to terminate anybody. They just don't. It's uncomfortable. It's awkward. You feel bad. You think about their families. You think about bills that they have to pay, their livelihood. It never feels good, even if it's completely warranted. So you have to be built to terminate somebody. Number one, you have to work on it. You have to learn about it. You have to educate yourself. You have to do research. And you have to really have some good legal counsel, especially when you're in the medical industry. And in New York, I was taught very early on that CYA, cover your ass, okay? So, it's like a no-fault type of like at-will state here in Florida, where you don't really have to have as stringent as a paper trail as you would have to have in New York City. But you still really need to do that. It's just the right thing. First of all, you have to have a personnel file, employee. You have to give them a handbook. They have to sign the handbook. They have to understand their rights as employees. You really have to lay it out. And I can't tell you how many of the practices that I've gone into that don't have any of that they don't do 90-day performance evaluations. We can't call them probation anymore. There's a lot of legal terms that go along with this HR industry. So you really have to educate yourself about that before you hire, fire, and all that good stuff that goes on with HR. So if you have the luxury of having an HR director within your organization, that's great. Somebody that actually understands HR is probably a good idea. But if you don't have that, you could really end up in a lot of trouble. So I've had a lot of examples of this, but going back to that Jack Welch thing and the Friday gig, I thought it was a good idea as well to terminate somebody on a Friday. And what I learned is that there's a lot of suicides from people that get terminated on Fridays, because then they have all day Saturday and all day Sunday to think about this job that they lost and how it's going to affect their livelihood. Now, I don't know the statistics. I really don't. And that has made me change my thought process on executing a termination. I do it during the week now. I try to avoid doing it on a Friday because, if nothing else, I really, really understood that it was easier for me to do it on Friday. I wasn't really putting somebody else like forefront in this. So I recommend that you have somebody with you in the room, because witness is always a good idea, because you never know how somebody's going to handle it. And you can think of it sometimes as freeing up their future. As a matter of fact, Dr. Amir Dowd, my favorite dentist in Tampa Bay, client, friend, and dentist, is really the one that said that, freeing up your future. And I've used it many times since, because it's true. I mean, sometimes it takes that for somebody to actually be happy in their life. They know they're unhappy in the job, so they act out. They don't come in on Mondays. They don't come in, or they just give poor work. But you have to document all of that stuff. If somebody understands throughout their employment very clearly what is expected of them, then if they get terminated, it won't be a surprise. I'm whispering because